Alrighty, so let's lower that for a bit. Okay, everybody. So this is Francisco here, Florida Panthers historian, Littlebox Cats, Sports Goose, whatever you want to call me. But anyways, the Florida Panthers just defeated the Philadelphia Flyers 4-3 from beautiful Sunrise, Florida. Their home opener for the 2022-2023 season. And yeah, well, everybody's going home happy right now over on the Sawgrass Expressway, heading I-75, I-595, heading on over to the Turnpike. Wherever you're going, just you're enjoying it. And yeah, Los Gatos defeating Philly. The Flyers with their first loss of the season. They were undefeated up to this point, but it seemed like everybody was counting the Flyers out. They seemed to be playing above their heads, especially due to their goaltending, and that was pretty much the case for tonight with the Flyers. And it's I guess if I do have to commend anybody, it's Sandstrom for the way he played tonight. I think he held the Panthers to as little goals as he could up until that third period, and then finally not really, I can't say the floodgates open, but the Panthers were finally able to get something through the seams there against Sandstrom. But I mean, I commend him for his effort in this game. If none, I mean, the three stars for the game were Verhaeghe, Rudolph's Bouncers, and Matty Tkachuk, who's, I mean, he's instantly becoming a fan favorite right now. But if I had to give a fourth star, if there ever were such a thing, then I would probably just give it to Sandstrom with the Flyers, just to give one to the opposition. And yeah, scoring summary: Carter Verhaeghe with 2 goals in this game, and notable, in fact, because according to the NHL, he became the first Florida Panthers skater to record multiple goals in consecutive home openers, and joined some impressive company among active skaters right now, including Patrick Laine, who did it with Winnipeg, Austin Matthews over in Toronto, Connor McDavid in Edmonton, Steven Stamkos in Tampa, and Alex Ovechkin with Washington. So those are some really, really good names to be associated with, and definitely got his swag on for sure. The Panthers finally rolled out their new system of not having a dedicated goal song for the entire team, but rather goal songs for each player, which I guess is in some sort of way like walk-up music in baseball. But hey, goal songs. I can dig it. I think it's a pretty cool idea to do. I would think it'd be a little bit tricky when you're trying to gauge immediately who got a goal, and you can't really tell if it was tipped in by somebody. I don't know what the situation there is. Maybe they have a goal song for the entire team in that case, or they just hold off on it until they figure out who actually got the goal. I'm not sure, but when it's clear cut, we know who got the goals. And yeah. So Carter Verhaeghe with the first 2 goals of the game. First one at 6:06 snapshot, and another snapshot at 8:38. And then Sealer for the Flyers nabbed one on the backhand at 16:31 for their lone score in the first period. Second period, power play goal by Philly, by Van Riemsdyk, Rister. So that was 2-2 score. But it was kind of a frustrating game once more. I think, judging by Twitter and on Letterboxd Cats, and the way that fans felt is just that whatever the Philly was doing was it was not sustainable. It was very much so on the TNT intermission reports, where none of them were really confident in the Flyers or in the start of the season the Flyers have had. And that's probably one of the biggest things that, if anything, yeah, Philly 3-0 to start the season, but it's early, and weird things have happened. I noted with the Buffalo game, like the Sabres have had good starts to their season, like maybe like a good first month and then fall apart after that. So this could very much be the Flyers, and it doesn't even seem like Torts has that much confidence in them. But very clear that Philly has been playing a lot on the backs of their goaltending with Carter Hart and Sandstrom. So it seems that that was the case in this game. But finally, good old Rudy out there scored his first goal as a Florida Panther with helpers by Sam Bennett and Matty Tkachuk, who had four points in this game. Was it 4 points or his his fourth assist of the season? Sorry, I kind of messed up there, but he had 2 assists in this game, and along with Barkov. Barkov had 2 assists in this game as well, with the first 2 Verhaeghe goals. But Matty Tkachuk is, there are sequences in this game and really throughout the first 4 games of the season that, man, that attitude of his is refreshing to see still. And I'm at some point I'm going to stop gushing over him, but it's just, we haven't had a guy like that, man. And he's defending his teammates and backing everything up and really getting under the skin of the other team. So there you go with that. And then Josh Mahura also got his first goal with the Florida Panthers, to get the 4th goal, and it essentially was the game-winning goal of the game, as the Flyers then played with the empty net. Then a dumb penalty called at the end of the game. It wasn't dumb on the Panthers' part. It was just that the refs fell for the Flyers' trick. It was a hooking penalty on I think Gustav Forsling. So wasn't his fault. Flyers player acted like he was getting hooked. Oh well. They got their 3rd goal of the game, which was at the I guess 3-second mark technically. So at the 3 seconds left in the game, and at that point it was more of a garbage time goal, as the Flyers still needed to win the faceoff and then somehow shoot it 100 feet down the ice to see if they could get past Bobrovsky, which was not going to be possible. And then the game was over, and that was it. So good things all around for the Cats. Carter Verhaeghe was the first star of the game, as I had mentioned. 35-34, Cats winning on the shots on goal. 62.7 face-off percentage. So the Panthers dominated in at the dot. 0 for 3 on the power play. All right, but the Flyers had 6 in this game. They only capitalized on 1. So the Panthers not as disciplined in this one with 12 penalty minutes, but they only allowed 1. So relatively good given the circumstances. 18-12, the Flyers on the hits, and 13-10 on the blocks, and both teams equally with the giveaways, and the Flyers 8-4 on the takeaways. But the Panthers dominated the first two periods with regards to shots, 14-12, and then the Flyers were just throwing everything but the kitchen sink in the third with 19 shots, and that's how that's how they were able to at least get the 1, but they were just trying to shoot everything at Bob. And Bob made some great saves, especially towards the end. He had one right with the toe of his skate that would have made the game a lot closer earlier and would have changed things significantly for sure. But yeah. So that's what happened. The crowd was really good tonight. Panthers, I haven't seen. Let me see if they gave us the attendance numbers. So we had 17,421 was the official attendance count for tonight at Sunrise. It doesn't sell out the building. The building seats 19,250, but it is also one of the largest buildings in the NHL, and I still believe that I know they won't lower capacity or take out seats or anything like that, but I still feel like they could, and probably change some things up in the upper deck, maybe add some terraces and some interesting bars or things like that other arenas have tried, just to one, lower capacity and thus help improve the optics and some. But it's still 17,000, which is about comparable to other buildings like in Nashville or Boston. So great crowd nonetheless, passionate. They were there throughout the entire game. They were there early. They were there before in the rain, waiting for the players to get to the arena and walk the red carpet. And that's with the Miami Heat also having their season and home opener down in downtown Miami. I know they're far away from each other, Sunrise and downtown Miami, but still, it's still competition within the market. And looking at the Heat game, every time I glanced over to that, and the Heat lost, by the way, so boo. But man, I live in Miami, and it's still hard to get down to the it's FTX Arena, whatever, the arena down there, because man, just deep into the second quarter, the seats in the lower deck for the Heat were still not filled up. So it is what it is. But the Panthers fans can hold their heads up high that they showed up and they were loud in that building. I was looking at Instagram and Twitter to see some of the shots by the people, and it was cool. There were some criticism as far as the banner ceremonies or anything like that. I didn't see any of the pregame ceremony stuff. I'll take a look at that on Twitter at some point later on. But I think that they weren't going to have like a banner raising or anything like that. And some fans were upset. It's like, oh, it's our first, we won the division. We got the President's Trophy for the first time. And I think most of all, it's mainly because the Panthers are now setting their sights higher than that. Yeah, they won the President's Trophy, but they still lost. They still didn't do what they were trying to do last season. They won their division, they won the President's Trophy, and then they bowed out in a sweep in the second round to their cross-state arch rivals. Meanwhile, Tampa is raising another Eastern Conference championship banner, and they're not going to have a big ceremony for that because they have loftier goals, and the same thing for the Panthers. Now, when the team starts winning more and more, you start trying to reach loftier goals, and that's what the Panthers are striving to. Like, hey, cool, President's Trophy, all right, but they want that Stanley Cup, right? And that's really the only. And after that, we can celebrate little minor things like that. But win the cup and let's get going after that. So that's. So I don't fault the Panthers for not trying to make a big deal out of raising those banners. I think 2012, sure, first division championship. That's fine. And after a decade of futility. So that's fine. But here now, these Panthers, they have higher expectations, need to get to the Stanley Cup Finals and try and actually win the damn thing. And they're building this fan base and trying to get consistent crowds. So it's still a work in progress. The Panthers are, I still don't believe they're there because the game wasn't sold out today. It wasn't. So it wasn't a complete 100%, 19,250 people in that building. So they are not there yet until they reach those loftier expectations. So, all right. As far as the banner was concerned, my only concern with that was just the designs of all the banners. They are inconsistent with each other. They're all slightly different sizes. It kind of triggers a little bit of the OCD in me. Their borders are slightly different on them, and the colors are different. But sure, the colors, each signify a different thing. Other teams do that, but there's they all look like they're from different eras, and that maybe it's kind of the idea, but at the same time it's still inconsistent. I still think they could do something a lot flashier with them too, and just a lot more unique. I just want something unique. I don't want them to go cheap on some of these things. Okay. Yeah. Anyways, but that's neither here or there. I'll lay off of it once they actually win the Stanley Cup, and I can criticize the Cup banner, which should be as extravagant as they want it to be. I don't want them to get one of those plain old Stanley Cup banners if they ever do win it. So, man, that's a massive tangent. I didn't even watch the Heat game, but yeah. So the Panthers moving on from here. Big game on Friday. Tampa Bay Lightning are in town. So, Friday night game, cross-state rivals. Should be a good crowd there as well on a weekend. So, I would expect a similar size, maybe even bigger crowd for the upcoming game against the Lightning. And it'll be each game was a test, right? The Boston game was a test, and unfortunately, I guess since the last time I did this, Aaron Ekblad is out for the foreseeable future for I don't know how many weeks. I guess we'll look into December, and hopefully he can come back around that time, maybe towards the end of December. But it's another season of Aaron Ekblad, who, if he had been healthy, at least one of the last 2 seasons, I think he would have won the Norris Trophy. And it's really sad. It's really man, it's frustrating, I think, for him and for Cats fans as well. I wish he didn't have such bad luck with regards to injuries, but it always seems like there's something. But at least the bright side is the Panthers can weather this. They've been through it before, so it's another test of the depth of the team and their minor league system. So they brought up a couple guys from Charlotte to figure that out. We'll see what happens with the cap. I forgot what they were saying about Eric Stahl, but yeah, that's happening, and that's unfortunate. And I hope Aaron Ekblad is getting better. I hope he gets a speedy recovery, but also at the same time take his time, and hopefully he can be there for a long run, and he's seasoned and ready for a Stanley Cup run, hopefully for the Panthers this season. And yeah, that's man, it's just unfortunate. I heard I didn't really check up the groin strain thing, and it was like a grade 2. I didn't know what that meant until one of my buddies looked it up, and he just told me how long it would take him. It was just bad. Other scores for today: Winnipeg beat Colorado 4-3 in overtime. Doesn't affect the Panthers at all, so no real bearing on the Eastern Conference. And the same thing for the other night game tonight in the West between St. Louis and Seattle. They're 1-1, but no bearing whatsoever for the Panthers. But yeah. Early standings: Florida is tied with the Boston Bruins right now with 6 points. Bruins beat them and have a higher goal differential and all that stuff. So there you go. And then Detroit and Buffalo behind Florida. The Lightning are in last place, but really, Panthers fans are tweeting out and posting the standings with the Lightning in last place, and it's just like, I get it, but still, they're the reigning Eastern Conference champion for the last 3 seasons, so I don't think we have much room to gloat there. And they swept us last season, so I don't want them to poke the bear. Josh Naylor did that to the Yankees, and look what happened for the Cleveland Guardians. Okay, let's see. We are at 20 minutes. That's probably how long I usually last with these things. Last thing I posted on the Panthers historian thing today, if you want to look at it. Quick little video as to the first home opener for the Panthers in the first home opener for the Panthers in 1993 when they faced the Pittsburgh Penguins, and they had a big old extravaganza with a laser light show and ice dancers and an actual Florida Panther and a limousine and all kinds of stuff. And I mean, the Panthers unfortunately lost to the Pens by 1 goal. And funny thing is, future Florida Panther Jaromir Jagr played in that game way back when. So that's interesting there. And for the victory today, I posted a picture of a Bob Kudelski Pog for the Florida Panthers. Anybody grew up in the 90s, y'all will remember Pogs. It's been something that I've been a little bit, not obsessed with lately. Of course, I'm an historian account, so I will look into old school stuff, but it's just an interesting part of 90s culture that I don't think people remember too fondly, but I feel like it just hasn't got enough attention. And there's a lot of Pogs out there. If you want to start collecting them, there's a ton on eBay. And there's a bunch of Florida Panthers ones, so I'll start posting some of those eventually. So it's just an interesting thing, man. I don't even know what I did with all my Pogs, but if you want to collect them, they're there. I think they're cheap for now. Maybe get in on the ground floor of the Pog craze. Maybe it'll come back. All right, folks. So enjoy the victory, right? Got those beaten. I don't even know what voladores. Yeah, that's probably what you would call the Flyers in Spanish. And there you go. All right. Bye-bye, everybody. Take care.